Harlem and Bernie Stone. Stay tuned. Taped with Rabbi Doug is next.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight.
But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're going to watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're going to see Rabbi Doug. Oh, everybody talk about Doug.
Shalom, welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. Glad you could be with us today. We're here for the Torah dedication ceremony, which is being dedicated by Dr. and Mrs. Roy Weiss for Congregation Bnei Ruven. We're going to observe the completion of the Torah scroll, the parade to Congregation Bnei Ruven, and then the dedication there of their Mikvah and their Beis Medrash sanctuary. It's going to be a wonderful event, so stay with us here on Taped with Rabbi Doug.
It was written in Yerushalayim. We commissioned it about a year ago. It was actually for a patient of mine.
Dr. Weiss is now carrying the Torah outside where it will be completed by the Sefer, the scribe. Different people will be invited up, and the scribe on their behalves will fill in letter by letter until the Torah is completed. Once the Torah is completed, it will be read from, and then carried in procession to the synagogue, where it will be placed in the Holy Ark in the Beis Medrash of Congregation Bnei Ruven.
Soy
Mazel tov! Mazel tov!
Sefer Torah, we will be laying what is normally laying on Sefer Torah is a Chassan Torah from Ma'oina. After we finish, all of us should conclude with, as we always conclude by the ending of a Chumash Torah with Chazak. At that point, will be Haggadah and the procession of the Shul.
לפרוי ולכל עבודו ולכל ארצוי ולכל היד החזקו ולכל המוירו הגדול אשר עשה משה לעיני כל ישראל
חזק חזק ונסחזק
חזק חזק ונסחזק
Zos HaTorah Asher Sa Moshe Livnei Bnei Yisrael.
Mazel tov to Dr. and Mrs. Weiss and their family on this wonderful occasion of the Siyum Sefer Torah. Mazel tov to Rabbi Jacobson, to Bnei Ruven, and Mazel tov to the entire community. In a Sikha that the Rebbe said about Sefer Torah, the Rebbe said as follows: the dissemination of the news of a Siyum Sefer Torah affects unity between all Jews, connected with the unity of Torah. Every Jew, no matter how remote from his heritage, is called Yisrael. In Hebrew, the letters of the word Yisrael form the Rosh Hashanah. Yeshishim Ribu Esis LaTorah. There are 600,000 letters in the Torah, since every Jew has a letter in the Torah. This concept of the unity of Torah is renewed each time a new Sefer Torah is written. For a new Sefer Torah is not merely one more addition to the total of Sefer Torah, but rather each new Sefer Torah is exactly as the first Torah written by Moshe Rabbeinu. So the concept of 600,000 letters in the Torah corresponding to all Jews exists in a new Torah, just as a Torah from Har Sinai. And just as the Torah is only complete when it has its own letters, so also the completeness of Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael is only complete when the entire Eretz Yisrael is there with no part of it given away. The Eibishter should give speedily to put an end to the darkness of exile and bring us speedily to our land, to the Beis HaMikdash, through Mashiach Tzidkenu. May it happen yet today.
Amen.
I want to thank everyone for coming. Chasima Tova, a good gebencht year. May we be celebrating Simchas together in the future. B'mheira b'yameinu with Mashiach. I want to say just a brief word that this Torah is dedicated in honor of my family, who Baruch Hashem has been, and my wife who's been wonderful, but also in the memory of a very special lady, Shendel Levi, Shendel Bas Moshe. Shendel was a survivor from the Holocaust who had no children. I had the schus to be her doctor, and I learned what a very special lady she is. And so, in honor of her memory, we're commemorating the Sefer Torah today. I also want to give a word of thanks to Rabbi Hertz, who is truly the pillar of this community, who is responsible for all the events that will take place from now and onward in terms of the Siyum Sefer Torah, and also in terms of being the father of Bnei Ruven at this point, and his wife, Rabbi Hertz, for all the good deeds that they've done. So we thank you. We thank them all. We thank, of course, the benefactor, Mr. Seymour Avery.
I just want to give again, especially Yashakayach, the Weiss family, since they've always been very involved in the shul, and more so since they moved to our neighborhood. I want to wish them the Hasidic blessing of Hasidic Nachas and Brachas, and all the Brachas of Bnei Chayim Azayna. May this Torah, the greatest mitzvah that a person can do, is writing a Sefer Torah. Be the final mitzvah which will lead us to the coming of Mashiach Tzidkeinu. Mazel tov to the Weiss family. Much nachas. It's a tremendous simcha for Bnei Ruven, for Chicago community, for Chabad community, for Klal Yisrael. Today is a very special day.
Don't go away. We'll be back with more of our events at Bnei Ruven, so stay with us here on Taped with Rabbi Doug.
Hey, dum diddly dum. Oh, hi. You're watching Taped with Rabbi Doug.
I want to be Makir Tov to Rabbi Hertz and the Kehila Bnei Ruven for giving my family the opportunity to dedicate the Aron HaKodesh in the Beis HaMedrash in memory of Rav Shmuel ben Yisrael Moshe Zochainu Levacha. We chose this dedication because of the Torah values that Shmuel Zochainu Levacha represented and the closeness we feel for the Shul and its revered Rav. Shmuel Zochainu Levacha taught us a lot, even in his illness, because he stayed robust. He lived his life to the fullest and looked always at the positive, using every ounce of his strength to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He always told me, you can't let the difficulties in life take over. It's a matter of focus. It's a matter of attitude. It's a matter of perspective. His emunah and bitachon was legendary, and he inserted in our hearts and minds, Hashem hu Elokim ein od milvado. We as a tzibur should be written into the book of life. L'manach Elokim Chaim. A good year to you all.
In this week's parsha that we just finished, you know, Moshe Rabbeinu was already 120 years. Came time for him to meet his maker. And right away we're told, Ksovas HaSefer, he right away had to write down the whole Sefer Torah to give to our people. Moshe Rabbeinu, we don't know where he's buried, but I tell you, he's alive here. Because what we have done today is a zchus for me and my wife. I just wanted to add to you that I still remember in St. Joseph, Missouri, where I would take my wife on a 2-lane highway. It wasn't even a highway, a 2-lane road. In the middle of winter, in the cold and the snow, when she had to go to the mikveh when we had little kids, and half of the time the mikveh wasn't even heated. To us, it was most important, the heater of the mitzvah, and as was pointed out, in Dallas, Texas, we had this chus to bring the helmets of Rav down, and he made sure that we did the mikveh with all the boras, and we have a kosher mikveh. I just want to tell you that my secretary had a problem which David and Aviva sponsored to help people who can't have children last week. We had a secretary who couldn't conceive. And my wife says to her, we just finished the mikveh, come with me to the mikveh. She took her to the mikveh, took her for nails, cut her nails, did palpi, did everything. This is a true story. And I want you to know, the baby girl is named Sarah.
Oh. The noted columnist, author, and speaker. It's our honor and pleasure to introduce to you tonight one who doesn't really need an introduction, Rabbi Jacobson.
They tell the story about a history teacher who once addressed his classroom and asked the students in this public high school to share with him the date and author of the following declaration. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Who said it and when? Very good. But the kids, the teenagers, shrugged their shoulders, displaying ignorance. They didn't know, not one of them. Besides one boy who came from Tokyo to study in the States, and he immediately answered John Fitzgerald Kennedy, January 22nd, 1961. The teacher was very impressed with the Japanese boy, but profoundly disappointed with the American youngsters. And he begins chastising them. What shall be with you? You are a bunch of spoiled brats, addicted to your palms and iPods and new cars and cell phones, girlfriends and boyfriends. You know nothing about the great ideals and dreams that shaped the great leaders of the United States of America. You know nothing about the visions and values that defined it and molded this country. We have to learn from the Japanese. Here is a kid who comes from Tokyo, foreign culture and civilization, and yet displays so much diligence and commitment and perseverance. He knows what Kennedy said, when he said it. And for 25 minutes, he's extolling the virtues of the Japanese until there's a voice heard from the back of the classroom. You'll excuse me, but I like telling stories the way they happened. And there's a voice from the back of the classroom, the hell with the Japanese already. The teacher was dumbfounded. 21 years in a classroom, nobody ever spoke to him this way. He shouts, thunders out loud, "Who said that?" And the student responds, "Harry Truman, 1945. Hey, that took you a minute. And this anecdote comes to mind tonight, this evening, when I recall actually another story, this one with a man named Moshe Weiss. Moshe Weiss was an immigrant of Poland who craved to become a citizen of the United States but knew not a word of English. To become a citizen, you need to go through a rigorous interview displaying some knowledge about our history and our country. So he asks his friend, "Was tich? What do? I don't know any English." The man says, "I'll set you up an interview with a clerk who for 50 years asks consistently the same 5 questions in the same order. You merely need memorize 5 answers, and you're set." What are his 5 questions? His first question is always, "What is your name?" The moment you hear question number 1, even if you don't understand what he said, you just respond, "Moshe Weiss." Second question is how many children you have. The moment you hear number 2, you say 5. Question number 3, how many states are in the U.S.? So when you hear number 3, you just learn to respond 50. Question number 4, what was the name of the first president of the U.S.? You'll say George Washington. Question number 5, do you have parents? You say, thank God, both. For 3 weeks, he's memorizing these 5 responses in English in this order. Moshe Weiss, 5 children, 50 states, etc. The great day comes, he goes into the interview. The man turns to him and says, "I have a few questions to ask you," of course. Question number 1, what was the name of the first president of the United States of America? Without skipping a heartbeat, with full confidence, he says, Moshe Weiss. How many states are there in the U.S.? 5. How many children do you have? 50. What is your name? George Washington. The man on the other side of the desk was an old Yid, an old Jew who knew Yiddish. So he figured out quite swiftly what is going on. He turns to him in Yiddish and says, "Zug mir, tell me, where is Meshuggah? It, Tzedek. Who is the Meshuggah one? You or I?" He says, "Baruch Hashem Beide." Thank God, both. The moral of this anecdote, of course, being, my dear friend, you can memorize lines, you can learn techniques, but if you do not internally appreciate and internalize a message in any particular issue, at some point you will get stuck. And I think this evening it's important to internalize a bit the deeper significance of the 3 events that transpired here today in this wonderful and beautiful community. The completion of a new Sefer Torah, a new Torah scroll, the dedication of a mikveh, and 3rd, the dedication and completion of a new section of a shul, of a sanctuary. So tonight, when we're here together, to celebrate the dedication of a shul, of a new Beit HaMikdash, a new space for God, and the completion of a Torah scroll, the eternal spiritual homeland of the Jewish people, and the Mikvah, guaranteeing the holiness and purity of the marriages, of the families, of the wholesomeness of a marriage in Jewish life, which was perhaps the most important ingredient in our existence. The emphasis on the holiness of family life. It is indeed not just a movie, not just nice, not just beautiful, but really, without exaggeration, a historical moment. A moment when we and our children and our grandchildren and our communities join in an eternal, unbreakable link from the day Moses said, "Today you have become a nation." And today, here again, we recreate and we continue that link for future generations, knowing that with our relationship with God, the shul, and through our continuous indulgence in study and observance of Torah, the Torah, and through our continuous commitment to the holiness of the Jewish family, the wholesomeness of the Jewish family, we are certain that Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you very much.
Glad you could be with us this week for the dedication of the Torah for Congregation Bnei Ruven by Dr. and Mrs. Roy Weiss. Also for the dedication of the Mikvah by the Weinschneider family and the dedication of the Beis Medrash Sanctuary by the Klein family. It's been a wonderful event. Remember, we're on every week at this time. Check out our website, www.tvrabbi.com, or email me if you have any questions at info@tvrabbi.com. Hope to see you next time at this very time right here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. Shalom.
And I'm talking about Rabbi Doug. Talking about Rabbi Doug. Talking about Rabbi Doug on your TV show. Well, he's the rabbi for me. Anytime you need. You're gonna get married or you're gonna die. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug on the TV tonight.